Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Wrigley. I am the education manager. Can you guys hear me? I have a height differential here. I am the education manager for NAN. I have just under a year under my belt within the education department. I come from the early years where I spent the early days of my career. So I've been with NAN since 2015. So diving right in, I just want to touch base about who my team is. So we have Kevin Kakagamic, who is sitting at the back, who is a vital colleague of mine. He is the First Nation Lifelong Learning Policy Analyst. So he takes a lot of the information for the bilateral table that we sit on, the First Nation Lifelong Learning table. Lori Van Buskirk is our language and cultural coordinator, and Giweden Kakagambin is our new student safety coordinator. So I'm excited to say we are fully staffed. That position's at vacant for quite some time. So as an overview of the student safety, these 5 things actually come from the 7 Youth Inquest. And as Kathy had noted in her presentation, the Student Safety Coordinator is funded by the EPP program. So the Community Building Campaign is one of those initiatives that we work with, and it comes from Recommendation 125 of the Inquest. So here are some graphics in the top left-hand corner. That is our display that we have used at our first student safety committee meeting. So we're in the process of re-engaging with the committee. And then the Wake the Giant are at the bottom left, and the middle, if you notice in the very center of that picture at Wake the Giant, there is a QR code. It's really important to our team and our colleagues at NAN that we receive evaluation and feedback from you all, because it really sets our priorities for every annual fiscal year, and ensuring that your voices are heard and that we continue to have a collaborative approach to the work that we do. So a little bit about the community campaign. Like I said, it came from Recommendation 125 of the 7 Youth Inquest. So they are an artistic display that host so much valuable information, and the real point of being able to utilize these are to end racism within our community. So some of the topics that are on the display panels are topics about treaties, taxes, reservation lands, free housing, education, residential school history, myths and misconceptions, information on the 7 Youth Inquest, culture shock, what students may experience when they are transitioning from a remote community and coming into an urban center, as well as how terminology matters. And it's in an informative way, but it's also a way to engage our community members and be able to talk about things that are uncomfortable often, like racism, in a healthy, safe environment. So as I said, evaluation is key to us. So we always want to know what our community partners, tribal councils, and community members have to offer in ways of recommendations for the work moving forward. So from our last event, which was the student safety meeting, as well as recommendations from the evaluation and feedback that we received from Wake the Giant, some of the topics that were recommended in future panels, which we are working towards getting some new panels printed and some maintenance to the ones that we currently have. And some of those topics that were recommended were missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, more information on NAN communities and tribal councils, the history of women's roles, the impact of colonialism, NAN members' contributions to World War II, highlights of Indigenous soldiers, First Nation cultural traditions, Indigenous leaders and their impact on change, and clean drinking water. So my team is working actively at generating some new content to be displayed on these panels. Now, for our partners at NEC, Kobe, we will gladly deliver, set up these panels. Thunder Bay Regional Hospital uses them, as well as the Thunder Bay Police. They're beautiful, as you could see from the pictures earlier. So if you ever want to utilize them, you can get in contact with me or Hiwedden, and we would be happy to set that up for your event. And they're a support mechanism for being able to communicate information that is really vital. The continuity of care app is, it stems from recommendation 87 of the inquest. And I will actually read the recommendation. So in order to ensure the continuity of care and increase prospect where desired of a return to Thunder Bay for those students who are sent back due to health and safety concerns, make all efforts to ensure that community supports, including continuing education, health, and mental health plan are in place prior to sending a student back to his or her own community. Canada and Ontario should ensure that there is sufficient funding and resources in a place to support these programs. So the database, was initially set up and the information was acquired by having post-secondary students become in touch with communities and generate information that pertains to the schools that their children could be attending. So NAN contracted HARPS Labs, and they were able to develop an app, and the app is intended for community support workers so that there's no lapse, so that we are able to give support workers information that can directly link students to services that improve their mental well-being, ensure that they're safe. And I will walk you through a little bit of the display. So it's a really easily recognized app, and it is found on the Google App Store for those that are Android users, as well as the iPhone app. So you can simply, you're welcome to do it. You can type in NAN service app and it will come up, and it's really easy to function. You can distinguish that it is NANs by the bear. And when you first open up the app, it'll direct you to the catchments that students are typically in, that come from NAN communities. So you can see there's Thunder Bay, where certain services can be provided. It also is very easy to navigate. There's a search engine. So if you're looking for mental health supports, if you're looking for dental offices, recreation activities for students, you simply can put that right into the search engine. And it's just a way for workers to be able to better support those students if they don't have access, as NAN's really not a service provider, but it still is a buffer so that no students left behind. So some of the categories that you can find on the app are counseling, dental, legal, medical, mobility, clothing, nutrition, tutoring, vision care, sexual health, crisis support. So it is an app filled with different resources that can really help you support your students. So the student transition notebooks is another resource that we have in-house at NAN. This comes from recommendation 125 of the Youth Inquest also. So a little bit about the transition notebooks we are currently generating volume 4 right now. And then that will be the end of this series. So I'll kind of walk through what 3 series are currently available. And if you want them for your communities, your schools, you can reach out to me, Kevin, Ewedden, and we'd be happy to send them to you to support your students. And we have learned some details of the work ahead and what communities and the Student Safety Committee has recommended for future content. So I'll get into that in a minute. So the first series one of the book, so first book edition, is boarding homes. So it is, I should have brought them so that, or Kevin, do we have them here? Did we have them at the booth? Shucks, I'll bring them tomorrow because they're a really valuable resource and I'd love for you guys to see them. So the first edition is boarding homes. So it looks at boarding parents' roles and responsibilities and ways to help students achieve success. The second book focuses on mental health and advocacy and self-reflection and tips for mental health and tools to support students while they are transitioning from uh, their remote communities to urban centers. And all of these workbooks are filled with really engaging activities that can help support students. Um, the third book, Life in the City and Independent Living, I did send these out to all communities. So I hope they found their way to you. This one focuses more on what it's like to live in a city and different support mechanisms that students could utilize, such as finances, navigating yourself and your time, living in a city, racism and gang awareness, and public transit. And public transit seems to be a very big one, just things that we often don't think about. How am I going to get to school, or how am I going to get to hockey, or all of those things that could really support students. And workbook 4 is currently in development. So Giweden is working on that, but based on the recommendations from the Student Safety Committee, it was recognized that a key topic would be harm reduction as well as a teacher's guide. And that will close this series of booklets and then we'll start on the second edition. School Options North, this came from recommendation 44 of the 7 Youth Inquest. And what it is a booklet that features all the high schools that students across NAN territory may choose or consider. We do have many available copies at NAN, so if you could benefit from them, we would be happy to share them or mail them out. Um, and it has all sorts of different activities or highlights of what the schools have, whether it's recreation, what special programming, and what may draw a student to want to attend, as well as it's available on the school's Options North website. So you can access that information and the community profiles of each school via the website. The Student Safety Working Group. We just finished our first meeting a few months ago. We hosted an event at the Chanterelle to re-engage. As I said, the student safety coordinator position was vacant at NAN for quite some time. So we're in the process of redeveloping relationships, and we're really trying to focus on being able to meet all those catchment areas so that we could make sure that this needs of students from whether it's Fort Albany or uh, Attawapiskat, so that we're able to come together and work collectively to be able to address what the students' needs are, and most importantly, prioritize how we can improve the student safety and well-being of the kids that we work with. So the student role, like I said, I think I noted all of the recommendations, but all of these things do come from the 7 Youth Inquest. So again, there's just what recommendations they are. So as well, my team works with the Ministry of Education, and some of those activities include the TPAs. So I'm responsible for two TPAs that roll through NAN. So that's the virtual learning environments and student mental health supports. So if any of you ever need help with reporting, I'm your person. I'm happy to sit down, whether it's engaging virtually or if you need help with your reports, which were due May 30th. So I hope to see all those in my inbox soon if I haven't yet. And then that leads us into the language strategy. So Lori, who's not here today, she is working with a language series. So she hosts learning sessions Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in Cree, OG Cree, and Ojibwe. So we just concluded, well, currently we're in the Seguin Spring edition. We have concluded the Diwagan fall and the Papoon winter seasons, but I did exciting to be able to be part of revitalizing language. And Lori's an expert, and she's really worked very hard with our translators to be able to support that re-engagement and learning when it comes to language. That will bring us to my final topic of discussion, which is the First Nation lifelong learning table. So this is the collaborative work that Kevin and I do with the FNLLT. Um, so it's designed to function as a relationship table through which representatives from the Ministry of Education and First Nations, in order to share information and discuss key education priorities for First Nation students in Ontario. It is a bilateral process, but it's a way to support and collaboratively improve education opportunities and outcomes for First Nation learners. So some of the activities that we've done to date is the restructure of the First Nation lifelong learning table. We are now a learning circle. So essentially the work and the product and the priorities are the same, but it's been aligned to better suit First Nations needs in the way that we receive and distribute information. Also, Coos Jordan's principal research study was developed with the Coo health sector, and it was a research project to gather the insight and the experiences of Ontario First Nations education staff when it comes to Jordan's principle. So because there are so many active members when it comes to Jordan's principle, it really dove deep into seeing where the gaps are and what needs to be improved. So there was 72 school boards and 32 or 72 school boards were sent the survey. And I believe we received 32 back. Well, who did not? Moving on, in January of 2024, the co-education sector launched an interactive, comprehensive survey to gauge the current needs and challenges in the special education landscape. The survey is a pivotal role in shaping recommendations, policy decisions, and program enhancements tailored to better serve learners. The survey was shared with education directors on January 12th, 2024. And the FNLLT will be presenting the results of the survey at their upcoming retreat, which is actually going to be held in Thunder Bay at our NAN office. So I'll be excited to share that information maybe at the next forum. Uh, I won't talk too much about the coup data dashboard because Patrick Lowen is here from coup tomorrow and he will demonstrate what the database is and how it is a combination of different information that could help you as educators and communities. So I'm gonna leave that one today because I don't want to take away from his presentation tomorrow. During the 2023 Fall Chiefs Assembly, the First Nation leadership in Ontario accepted the Systematics Gap project, so that identified many gaps that we've had, especially post-pandemic. So I believe he'll be talking about that tomorrow too, but it looks at things like chronic absentee and what could be better supported at a provincial level to close those gaps. And most recently, the FNLLT curriculum task team is creating or trying to create 4 permanent seats. to ensure that First Nations are active from start to finish when it comes to curriculum development. This information is also dispersed from our policy analyst who disseminates all the information that our bilateral table has. So Emma is the techie person, but she has created a Dropbox where all the information is tangible and at your fingertips. So we would be happy to share how to access that Dropbox. Has anybody used the Dropbox? No? Oh my goodness, we gotta, yay! We we really gotta promote it so that you guys have tangible information because sometimes we find that the Ministry of Education gives us some information that doesn't give us due time and due diligence to be able to conduct a survey or be able to meet collaboratively to discuss priority items. So I really encourage you, if you haven't checked out the Dropbox, please get in touch with Emma because it is a pool of wonderful resources. And I know that we exchange many emails, but it's there to support you. And there's a lot of information that could benefit you in your work in supporting students. Uh, and last but not least, I do want to give a big shout out to my team as we just finished the land-based learning forum. So we had over 250 delegates come from across NAN, educators, board members, and it was a really engaging and wonderful opportunity. And I just want to point out that all of our branding, you can see the beautiful painting done by a 13-year-old in North Caribou. So it's pretty exciting. But it was a successful event, and that also comes from the First Nation Lifelong Learning Table. And I think that's it.